Hello, Jaguar students. It's your friendly neighborhood math teacher, Mr. Allred. I'm kicking it to you live here with Unit 1, mini lesson number 5. We're going to talk today about exponents and order of operations. This is our last and final mini lesson in Unit 1 on signed numbers. We're going to take everything that we've learned so far, addition and subtraction, multiplication and division of positive and negative whole numbers, and we're going to put it all together with some big order of operations problems. Okay? See your learning goal for today. That is the goal. By the end of the day, you should be able to do that. I want to make note that today's entry is your 8th entry in the table of contents. It's Unit 1, mini lesson number 5 on exponents and order of operations. Okay? Entry number 8, September 26, 2017. Here it is. First thing you're going to want to do is put a number 8 there in the top right-hand corner of your notes, and then get ready to get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is talk about exponents. One thing exponents do is they show repeated multiplication. They do a really good job of showing us repeated multiplication. Okay, and they also indicate to us, they tell us how many times to multiply a number by itself. Okay, what we're going to do in order to understand a little bit more about exponents is look at this table. Okay, this guy right here. We're going to look at numbers in exponential form, what they look like base and exponent. Look at them in expanded form with all the multiplication, and then figure out what they are. And then we'll find a pattern that will lead us to figure out what 2 to the 0th power is. But we're going to start here, 2 to the first power. That's just 2 not times itself, 2 by itself, one time. 2 to the second power is like 2 times 2, which is 4. 2 to the third power would be 2 times 2 times 2, which should be 8. Get ready to write something down. 2 to the fourth power is like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which happens to be 16. And 2 to the fifth power would be like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which happens to be 32. Okay? If you look really closely at these numbers, these guys right here, you might notice something if you go from bottom to top. You might notice that 16 divided by 2 happens to be 8. So 16 divided by 2 gives you the next number. 8 divided by 2 happens to be 4. 4 divided by 2 happens to be 2. Which leads us to say, oh, look, we've got 2 to the 0th power. Okay? If these numbers follow the same pattern, look, the exponents are going up by 1 every time, or down by 1 every time, depending on which way you look at it. Okay? What does 2 to the 0th power have to be? Well, if you take 2 and divide it by 2, that would be 1. It looks like 2 to the 0th power would be 1. This is kind of like the pattern I showed you yesterday for multiplying a negative by a negative, but this is exponents. Any number to the 0th power, look here at your new rule, take any number and raise it to the 0th power, you get positive 1 every single time. So for example, 10 to the 0th power would be 1. 200,000 to the 0th power is still 1. Okay, we know that because of this pattern we just looked at there in the table. If you don't trust me, ask me when we get to metering stations. Okay, there's exponents and how they work. You're going to evaluate some of these exponents. I'll do a couple here for you. 3 to the 4th power would be like 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. So 3 to the 4th power would be 81. 10 to the 0th power, look at number 2. What is that? Oh, shoot. We just said any base to the 0th power is 1. So 10 to the 0th power had to be 1. And negative 4 to the 3rd power. Please note that this negative 4 is in parentheses, like we talked about yesterday in class. Because it's in parentheses, that means I need to include that negative sign each time I multiply it by itself. So we do negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, but positive 16 times negative 4 would be negative 64. Ed Puzzle is going to ask you what you got in 4, 5, and 6. Thank you for doing 4, 5, and 6. I really appreciate it. Okay? In math, there's 4 basic operations. Okay? Addition. Usually we've seen a plus sign before. You've got subtraction. You might have seen a subtraction sign before. I don't know. Maybe you have. Maybe you haven't. Multiplication. You might see it like an X. You might see it like parentheses. You might see the dot. Or division. Oh, goodness. What have I done? I've done something bad. For division, okay, usually you see this little obelisk, and it's drawn just like this with a line and then a dot. That's what the division symbol usually looks like. Okay, those are the 4 different operations that you will encounter in math class. Okay, in these order of operations problems, we're going to call them expressions. A numerical expression, guess what it has? It has numbers and operations, aka all these things that we just talked about. And here's how you simplify them. Anytime you're asked to evaluate, it means to simplify. The order of operations is a series of steps that you talked about in the 6th grade. You remember that you do parentheses first, then you evaluate the exponents, then you multiply or divide from left to right, whichever one comes first. And then lastly, but not leastly, you add or subtract from left to right in whatever one comes first, in whatever order. Okay? The problems today are going to ask you to evaluate them. That's just a big fancy word for simplify. So if you look at this big gigantic expression, please write this down. This is your expression, your example right here in the notes. We're going to evaluate this expression, so we're going to simplify it. We're going to start first with the parentheses, these guys right here. So we're going to do 7 plus negative 3. 7 plus negative 3 happens to be 4. So I brought down a 4. Now I've got negative 5 times 3 plus 4 squared divided by negative 2 plus negative 3. I have to do the exponent next. So look right here, this exponent. 4 to the second power is like 4 times 4. That happens to be 16, which I brought down with another arrow. And now I have some multiplication here. I've got some division here, okay, and then some addition around it. I had to do the multiplication first. So I did negative 5 times positive 3 and got negative 15. I did 16 divided by negative 2 and got negative 8. So this led me here, and this led me here. Okay. Now I'm just going to add from left to right. I've got negative 15 plus negative 8. That's negative 23. Oh. And then I've got negative 23 plus negative 3. Happens to be negative 26. Those are basically the kind of problems that you're going to see. That puzzle is going to ask you what you got for numbers 1 and 2, okay? And you're going to work on the rest of them as a station. My answer key is on the counter. Good luck to you. Of all the students I've ever taught, you are one of them. Thanks so much. Make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. Goodbye.